I woke up this morning and chose clickbait. Sorry. I'm going to argue that actually you should make an MMO for your first game all on your own. Sort of. And for MMO, we can substitute any game that is impossibly complicated and overscoped that generally takes teams of hundreds and millions of dollars to make. Put in your GTA 6 killer, your full-featured multiplayer hero shooter, your complete RTS, your simulation game from first principles, whatever. Conventional wisdom is that a game like this has way too much complexity. You aren't going to be able to finish it. You're definitely not going to be able to release it, and if you could release it, it would be a mess and nobody could play it because you wouldn't be able to support it. Anyways, you should instead make Pong or something like that. However, you're not going to release Pong anyways, and if you did, you wouldn't make any money, and many of us never really release anything of note anyways. We can find this advice on many Reddit threads full of smug killjoys. You don't know how to program yet. You can't make a full MMO. Do you have any idea how much that would cost? Etc., etc. And that's good advice. Sort of. Let me speak from experience. When I was a computer science student, assignments and projects were necessarily limited in scope to something we could finish in a week, 2 weeks, an hour, a 30-minute exam, etc. Even larger project classes only had projects that lasted a few months. And that makes sense. Maybe we'd get pre-built architectures to add features to, or toy examples to practice algorithm writing, whatever. Even in the most project-based classes, we'd never get more than a few months to dig into a project. We would learn about software architecture best practices, but only in toy examples. And although we might be able to repeat back as if from scripture these commandments, we never really internalize why, because in the curriculum, we never have a chance to fuck up a project really badly with bad practices to the point where we understand why we need good practices. And even when you get an internship or something, you will be working on a big code base, but all the major architectural decisions have been made, hopefully not by interns. Your code will be reviewed mercilessly, and you probably won't have a chance to fuck things up. Probably. No. The way to understand the why of software engineering best practices is to try to make a huge project, possibly with a team of inexperienced people, and hit points where your early bad choices block future progress. Then you start understanding why and when principles like solid or techniques like test-driven design are tools worth considering and deploying in some, often many, and not all circumstances. Not just wisdom received from the programming gods to be followed, regurgitated, unquestioned. While in school, I got lucky. I did a game jam. I met a guy who was willing to hire me to work on his big, ambitious simulation project. I started neglecting my studies, and I don't regret that. Over and over again, we had to throw tons of stuff out because we had bad architecture. This got me interested in why we needed better architecture, so I started trying to make my own overly ambitious games, and ended up really just making frameworks for them, mercilessly gutting and refactoring to include things like dependency injection, to enforce separation of concerns, or to ease automated testing. These are generally concepts you do not have to deal with when you're building tiny toy projects, when you're building Pong. But understanding how big projects work and why to structure them that way is essential for making big projects. And I really think my university education could only teach them as toy ideas because they only become important at scale, and you only realize why they're important when you fuck it up. So what I mean is that while the general advice that you should not make a huge MMO as your first project while you're learning is good and that you're not going to be able to finish a huge MMO, you can also learn a ton of stuff by trying to make a massive ambitious project and failing. You'll learn much different stuff than the coder who only makes games that they know they can finish. You'll discover and hack together wild solutions to problems that you probably shouldn't even be solving yet. But these are things you're learning that are different than how to make Flappy Bird flap, and you'll gain a different perspective, and you will fail. And I think failing, especially in a controlled environment, where the only real loss is a bunch of your time, is actually an amazing way to learn. Just if you do it this way, two things. One, don't neglect the fundamentals. You still need to learn how to code. You still should learn like coding best practices, and you should still build Pong. Two, know when to quit your big project. And when you do, understand that it's time to reflect and think about what you've learned and what perspective you've gained, and not time to say, game dev is hard, I give up. No, you bit off more than you can chew, and that's okay because you got something out of it. You learned a lot. When we learn from the fundamentals, we build the tower of our knowledge up brick by brick from the foundation. That's a tower that will last. That's a tower that can support more knowledge on top of it. When we reach to do something far, far, far beyond our abilities and means, we're not building that foundation. We're building a rickety scaffold up to the moon that could fall at any moment. But at the top, just before everything crashes to the ground, you get quite a view. And that's perspective. Hey, sorry for tricking you into watching this. You should still make crazy big games as well as little games too. You should make any size of games because games are art, and art is all we have in this horrible world. I'll be back next week with some more technical content, so please subscribe to me so that you can see that when it comes out, because it will be fun and it will be educational, I guess. All right, see you.